Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. My name is Rochelle Slay, or Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. So, y'all, we have a special guest today, and I don't want you to miss out on tonight's episode. And yes, we pushed this back an hour because you know what? It's the summertime and life is happening and there's a lot going on. So, as you know, I am a basketball mom. Yes, they won. They came in third place for those that are interested in knowing and following AJ's journey. But okay, it's not about me or him. It is about my guest. And so here on the Slate to Success channel, what we do is bring in a special guest, and we're talking all things leadership, wellness, mindset, personal branding, and business. All right. So if that is something that you also are willing or able to participate in, we would love for you to join us in on this conversation. So as you come on in, tell us where you're streaming in from, give us your name and where you're coming in, okay, so we can give you a shout out as we're in the conversation. So slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. Now, it is also an acronym that I use as a framework for the women leaders who come to me and tell me, I want to be seen, heard, trusted, and remembered. All right, they go from accomplished to influential over a time span. And as we are talking through that, we are using the SLAY method and we're building upon that. So S is strategic identity, L is leadership presence, A is aesthetics authority, and Y is your narrative power. Okay. So y'all, tonight, who do I have here with me? I have my special friend, sister in arms, Danielle Lacey. She is a Navy veteran, licensed financial educator, and passionate advocate for helping veterans, active duty service members, and military families build stronger financial futures. After serving 9 years in the United States Navy, Danielle recognized that many in the military community, including herself, were encouraged to use retirement and insurance programs like the Thrift Savings Plan. And y'all know what I'm talking about if you have been in the military or military affiliated. That is our TSP, and the Servicemembers Group Life Insurance, which is the SGLI, without fully understanding how those tools fit into a long-term financial strategy. So today, she educates individuals and families on index financial strategies designed to help grow and protect retirement savings while reducing exposure to market risk. Her mission is to empower those who have served our country with the knowledge and confidence to make informed financial decisions, retire with greater security, and enjoy the freedom, and peace of mind they have earned through their service. Y'all, I want you to give her a round of applause as she comes in, okay? Hey, Danielle, how you doing, Queen?
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Miss Rochelle. I am so excited to be here. That was a big welcome. So I appreciate this.
Well, girl, you're a big deal. Okay. So I am not like stepping out and just doing the little bare minimum in here. Okay. We got to make sure we are seen, heard, and remembered. And I knew when you reached out to me, and I think it was first through Instagram, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were just like, hey, I'm in the financial space. I'm just trying to get to know. Can I be a guest on your show? I was like, absolutely, Queen. Like, let's talk about this. Mm-hmm. Now, we've had to schedule a couple of times just because of the schedule and how, it's came to be. But we are here tonight, and I am so excited to hear from you and to share with us what you're doing, how you're doing it. So, first, can you just share with the audience a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get our conversation flowing?
Absolutely. So I'm a 9-year Navy veteran, as you said. I joined the military like everyone else to get out of the community that I was in, make better decisions, see the world. Couldn't swim, but I decided to join the Navy. Don't know how that went. I couldn't pass boot camp for the life of me. It took me 25 times to pass NQS and then like 15 times to pass the prone float. And I literally graduated right on track. Like but I didn't walk in graduation or march. I joined the military undead, so I didn't have a rating. So I went in and I kind of worked everywhere, right? And I was one of the lucky ones. So I worked in the C rates first. I was an ABE, aviation
Okay,
sport.
so before you say that, like, tell everybody what these acronyms stand for, because so I know some of our audience may not be military,
Okay.
savvy. So they're like, what we doing here? Okay, so break it
Okay.
down.
Basically, I worked in like C rates, like anything to do with the flight deck. And then I moved on and I worked in the legal office for a little bit. I couldn't type fast, so that didn't work out. And then I went back to a C rating where I worked in weapons. And I worked in weapons right up until I got out. I had my son, and I was like, could I do another term? And I couldn't see myself leaving him and going back out to sea. And I decided to get out the military. Now, I lucked up because I did the Skill Bridge program, which was basically a program where I can basically figure out what I wanted to do 6 months prior to me actually getting out the military. And I was able to set myself up. And I got into finance. Somebody was talking to me about it, and I was like, you know what? Let me take a stab at it. And I was like, wow, there's so much that I didn't know. And I was like talking to them, and they was like, you have insurance? I'm like, yeah, SGLI. But it was like, what is it? I was like, I don't know, just what you know. And I ended up, talking more with them back in 2019, and I never left. And that's just how my life panned out. And as I grew in the civilian sector, I realized like so many people came out to me and was like, how are you so successful? Like, what are you doing? How are you making it? And I decided to like teach more, educate my peers, and I just took off.
Yeah, you didn't just take off, Gwen. I'm just like listening into your story. So first of all, for you to pass, I mean, it took you said 25 times
Yes.
to pass basic training.
Mm-hmm.
And then another 15 times to pass. And I thought I heard like a test.
It was the prone float. So you have to pass like the basic swim, and then you have to learn how to float. So you have to pass both.
Oh, so swimming and floating.
Yes.
Yeah. So, in the Air Force, we don't have all that, so I could definitely understand that challenge, but you overcame it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that we don't sometimes recognize in ourselves, is that we have done hard things. You jumped in and you're like, I didn't even know how to swim, but I was like, I'm gonna get in here and I'm going to figure it out. And you did. And then you went on to serve, and you served and had all these different jobs that you had no idea what you were doing, but you just went into it anyway. You had your son, right? Which, y'all, anyone who's been in service. So if I didn't share with anyone who's new here, I also served in the Air Force, and I served for 3 decades. And when I was in service, I had our son at the halfway mark. So I didn't understand what it meant to have a child, while you were in service, until after I had our son. And everything that I had said before that to any woman who was like, oh my goodness, I can't find childcare. I would be like, look, we got to get to work. You got to get to work. I look back on those days and go, how that was not right on my part at all, because I didn't understand what it took until after I had our son. So I can definitely understand the challenge of not wanting to re-enlist because of your son, and because you were going to go out to sea. And that is how long is the time served on sea duty? I forget how long it is.
So my rotation was 5 years sea duty, 3 years shore. So 5 and 3 was my rotation. Pretty much.
And so, yeah. And so if that is heavy, if you don't have the right type of support at that time. And it's a hard decision to make. So, but you went into financing and then understanding it and being educated in that. So let's just talk about that. Let's first break it down with financial literacy. Okay. Because I have had several individuals come here and talk with me about finances and have shared their perspective about what they know and what they would like people to just really have a deeper understanding about. So let's just talk about like basic 101. Okay.
Okay.
Like, give me a few tips, and maybe somebody who's looking to, you know, create a little bit more financial stability. Give us some few tips that they can start to do.
Few tips. My first tip is to read, to research, to
Mm.
obtain the knowledge. What you don't know, you can't do, right? The first thing is look into the accounts that you have. Majority of people right now have their normal day-to-day checkings account, savings account. They maybe have a CD, and that's it, and maybe a retirement plan. Let's say a 401k. And I normally talk to people and I was like, so how do you plan on retiring and staying retired? And they're like, oh, well, I have some money saved up in my checkings account or in my savings account and the 401k. I'm like, okay, when's the last time you checked your 401k? They're like, oh, I don't really check it. Well, how do you plan on properly retiring if you don't know what's in that retirement account?
Right. That part.
Now, my biggest thing is tell me what you know about this retirement account. Because, like I told you before when we first met, my biggest impact with this whole thing was me seeing veterans holding up a sign on the side of the road saying, I'm homeless, help a vet, or just random homeless people. But majority of homeless vets, it's unsat. Right. And I say this to say that because 401ks is not proper retirement. TSPs are not proper retirement. 403Bs, the list goes on. They are not proper retirements. Why? Because these accounts are in the stock market. They are variable accounts. How can one properly retire if their retirement is fluctuating?
Mm-hmm.
First thing is, where can someone properly retire and have solidified money that is guaranteed for when they are ready to retire at the age 62 through 7. Look that up. And I talk about indexed accounts. So what is an indexed account? It's a hybrid between a fixed and a variable account. So it mirrors the stock market, but it's not actually in the stock market. So it mirrors the highs of the stock market, and then it has a floor. So when the stock market goes down, it has that floor of 0.75, and you don't lose. I always tell people, what you don't know will always hurt you. Everybody listens to, oh, tell me what you do. Tell me what you do. You take in a new job, they tell you sign this, sign that. This is what I did, but nobody really takes the time to research. I didn't know what an SGLI was. Still to this day, I know the bare minimum. I didn't know how the TSP worked. Still to this day, I talk to service members, active duty militaries, vets. They don't know. They know the bare minimum. I go to the VA clinic and I'm talking to veterans and everybody's clueless. How is that possible?
Okay. So I'm gonna, you know, kind of like break this out too, because I think you're onto something that military members are almost like shielded from being educated. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's TSP, go in, you know, to the finance center or to the MPF military personnel flight, go and sign up. Okay, for this TSP, you can get either 7%, 10%, you know, of your paycheck, and it goes into TSP. That's kind of where it stopped. Okay, then the SGLI, you know, when you're in service, they pass around all the papers when you're in processing, and everybody's just, they're like, okay, and you have to make a decision right then and there. You don't have time to even think about it. It's almost as if it was like, well, this is just what we do. Okay, this is just what we do up in here. And again, I was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. We just go ahead and sign this piece of paper, and we're just trying to in process. So it's so crazy how we don't understand what our money is actually doing, or the programs that they have designed for it. And it makes it even more complicated as you mature in that system.
Yeah.
Because it's a system, you know? So I feel that, like, I have received that, and we got a couple of guests here. Keisha, how you doing, Queen? How you doing? Another woman veteran up in here. Okay, how you doing, Queen? Thank you so much for being here live with us tonight on the show. And then on the YouTube side, I got Max Rich, and they said, "Wow." I mean, listen. Thank you for being here live with us because this is important for us to discuss and for us to share. So this information that Danielle is just dropping in here, we need to like pay attention and do some research. So those are some really great tips that you were talking about too. So also, when it comes to, financial literacy, because you're, educating, and those that you're seeing it either in those that are still in service or those that have transitioned out even at the VA clinic and understanding our benefits and so forth. I think there's also a mindset around it, right? Finance is I mean, seriously, like our minds have been programmed in such a way to see and feel and to interface with money. So what are your thoughts on financial wellness, or excuse me, financial mindset?
Oh, that's big. If your mindset is stuck with having your money in a mattress, you are
Oh,
far below the margin.
money in the mattress.
Yeah. I have to say that because I grew up where nobody taught me anything about finance. Nobody. I got scammed. I was told, hey, I can get you $1,000 in your bank account by tomorrow. Give me your social when I was younger.
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
learn about credit cards. I didn't learn about anything. It starts at home. And a lot of our community don't want to talk about that. Like nobody wants to talk about it. We steer away from financial literacy. We steer away from how to invest our money. We steer away from anything that puts us outside of that comfortable margin. Right? If your mom tells you, hey, I got your important documents. With my mom, she went and lifted up that mattress and had them in my bag. She had my social, my birth certificate in a bag underneath the mattress. I grew up just like that. Now, when it comes to having a financial mindset, it's just a generational, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's because not like it's just generational pass down. And we pass down information, broken information, and all we pass down to each other is debt. Nobody really stops the curse. I didn't want to call it a curse because I didn't want to.
It's not a curse, but I know exactly what you're speaking to. But keep going, Queen.
Yeah, I just didn't want to call it that. But we have to break barriers. So when we end up joining the military or getting jobs, we make money, we spend it, and we just keep repeating the cycle. We have nothing set up in place to actually secure our future. Nothing. So when you talk about financial literacy, and I tell people, hey, if you make it $1 today, how can you keep that dollar and pass it along for tomorrow? Some people would tell me, I don't know how. They're like, oh, my kid is just going to get a job. Oh, I got a degree. I'm going to just work and just save up money. But there is a way to pass down money from one person to another utilizing life insurance. Now, Ms. Rochelle, if I told you, and I asked you a question, let me ask you. When you hear the word life insurance, what comes to mind?
Death.
Typical answer, right? Everybody's
like,
death. What if I told you life insurance was made to be utilized while you're still alive?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
While you're still here.
But you know what? No one ever says that. You know what I mean? There's so much to that question that it scares people. All right. People don't want to talk about death, first of all, because everybody think we're gonna live here for the rest of our lives. And then when something happens, they just be like, oh my goodness, I'm like, we all going to die one day. But I understand, you know what I mean? But this money situation, it's a real thing. And the passing down debt, I think every family has had to deal with that, especially in our community. And I'll say in the Black community, I think it's more prevalent than ever because we have had to experience that in our community, in our own family, because no one's managing and no one understands what happens afterwards. Everybody's like living, like you said, day to day, doing what they do. And then, when they pass on, who's going to pay these bills? Who's going to pay for the funeral?
Yep.
You know, who's going to make sure the granddaughter who was getting monies from the grandparent continues to go to college? I mean, all these things play into the factor, but you're right, life insurance. So let's talk about this life insurance.
Okay. So let's talk about it. Well, you said that you think of death, and so there's millions of people. But what we don't know is actually a gateway to turn into generational wealth. And what do I mean by that, right? When it comes to life insurance, I want you to think about a company that you see all the time. When you drive at least a mile, every 2 miles, you see a big old golden arch, McDonald's. Everybody goes there, get a little fast food, a little French fries, chicken nuggets, and they don't know how it came to be. Now, the biggest thing during the Great Depression in October of 1929, I believe, the economy took a severe loss, right? 25% of Americans were unemployed, 40% of banks closed, right? People's savings account just disappeared. But there was one sector of the economy that stayed afloat, and it was life insurance. Life insurance was touchable. So much so that people didn't lose any money. Remember, I told you there's that floor. So they were actually making money during the Great Depression. When it came to Ray Kroc and he brought McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers, he utilized cash value life insurance to stay afloat. He didn't make money for 8 years. He utilized his policy to pay for ads, pay for campaigns, pay his people. And now we have billions of McDonald's, 43,000 McDonald's in over 100 countries. Same thing with JCPenney. Who still shops at JCPenney? I don't know. I haven't been there in so long, but it stays afloat. JCPenney used to be a dry goods food store, right? He, during the Great Depression, he was also suffering. His personal wealth was suffering. His business was plummeting, and he didn't know what he was going to do. And he utilized his cash value life insurance, the money that he accumulated in his policy, and he was actually able to save his company. The company that we know today that makes about $6.9 billion revenue. That's just McDonald's. That's just JCPenney, just right there. Walt Disney World. Everybody going to Disney. I seen it on TikTok. So many people in Disney World for Juneteenth. Turning up.
Turning up. Not for the Juneteenth, y'all. Y'all going to Disney World.
I was in Disney, and I was so mad I wasn't invited.
I mean, we went as a family. I mean, I think a lot of people go because, I think it's one of the best places to go for entertainment, especially for families. So, yeah. But Walt Disney, I mean, he knew what he was doing too.
Well, when he wanted to make his amusement park, he went to the banks, lenders, and they was like, we don't want to take on that responsibility. No, Mr. Walt Disney, no. And Walt was like, you know what? I have some cash value life insurance. And he utilized that to open up Disney World in 1955. Wow. So if cash value life insurance is so powerful, how come we don't know about it? How come?
Because it's attached to death. I think that's one of those myths, that's just sitting there. It's a stigma. If you go and get life insurance while you're still alive, then you're doing something wrong. I mean, I think that's what the mindset is. But, you sharing that with us, it gives everybody a pause and to actually, again, do your research, y'all. All right. Because we need to make sure that we're well informed so we can make well informed decisions. So, get yourself into the know of life insurance and understand these things work for us and not against us.
Yes.
Absolutely. Mason said great information. Okay, listen. I mean, anytime we talk about money, I think because it's so personal. It's so personal. When you talked about your mom having, the money and the certificates and all like important papers underneath the mattress, I think all of us can think about someone in our family who had done that and have a money story. Okay, I think because that's what creates this mindset about money and your relationship with money. Because people have had some hard and like the trauma the trauma of dealing with money. And now you here telling us, Danielle, that we need to, invest, right? It's like, how do you switch that mode of, not being in a trauma centered realm of, it could be somebody put a bill in your name. Okay.
Stories.
I mean,
for days.
There's so many things that are out there, or you couldn't pay your rent, right? The lights were off, and you couldn't pay the utilities bill, and so you do something else, like take out another mortgage or take out a loan, and then you got the loan sharks after you, and it just, the list goes on and on. You talk about those credit cards. I'm telling you, like, they came for us when we were in the military. I don't know about you, Queen, but I had probably like over 50 credit cards that were sent to me when I first went to my first base. Mm-hmm. And I think I applied for, 15. Girl, I got every one of them. Okay. Maxing these things right on out. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. Not knowing anything about the interest rates.
Oh, let's talk about it. Compound interest. Albert Einstein said it the best. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it, right? When it comes to compound interest, we are constantly on the paying end of it, never on the receiving end. How? Why? Why do I want to give you triple times what you gave me? Why? Why do we deal with that? And the biggest thing is when you have these accounts, interest, right? I tell people, you have a mortgage. Congratulations on the interest. Congratulations on the compound. That is horrible. Credit cards, compound interest, right? You're paying them triple times the amount that they gave you. I'm never understanding the aspect of that. But when I tell people there are strategies in place for you to be on the receiving end of compound interest, it scares them. It scares them because it's not normal to hear. It's not normal. When it's not normal, people are afraid of it. When everybody's not doing it, people are afraid of it. And the biggest thing that you said was the accumulation of debt. When you fall into hard times, you look for more ways to accumulate debt. Not intentionally. You do it because you feel like there's no other way. Why do we wait for hard times to then make a decision? You wait until somebody is sick, then you want to apply for life insurance. You cannot get it because you are a liability now. You have to be approved. When I tell people about life insurance, they say things like, well, I don't need it. You may not get approved. They don't just approve everybody. That's not something they just hand out like blow pops. They're not just giving it out. You have to be approved for it. My biggest thing is get it before it's too late. You can get life insurance for your child as soon as 15 days old. Straight out of the womb, healthy baby. It's easy for them to get approved because they have no medical history. Mm-hmm. You can make your baby a millionaire at 15 days old just by paying into that policy. So by the time they are able to go to college, they can go to college. Mm-hmm. They can decide, hey, and it doesn't flag FAFSA. FAFSA doesn't need to know about it. It's tax-free. They can loan against it. And if they decide, hey, no, mom, I don't want to go to college. I want to build a business. They can utilize the money in their cash value life insurance to do that as well. And that policy still keeps going, still keeps compounding. And by the time that child is 62 to 70, he has $1 million in his policy, $1 million in his death benefit. And if something critical or chronic happens to that child gets up to 90 to 100% of that face amount while that child is still here. Well, that adult. And then that child passes down. Let's say that child dies, lived a great life, passes down $1 million to the next child, to the next person, and you keep the generational wealth going, just like the Rockefellers did. Read that book, What Would the Rockefellers Do?
Listen. I'm in here like, yes, Queen, like, but again, I feel like this type of information, it's not readily available. And I absolutely love when you say, well, other people are doing this, okay? And then if you do it, you're going to be like the Lone Ranger, and they're going to be like, well, what you doing over there? You're doing it wrong. Right. And then all the while, we've been conditioned. This is a conditioning thing of what we see or hear about life insurance. Right. So I'm happy that we had that discussion and also talked about, getting into debt and compound interest and all these other things, right? And one of the things that I know that has happened, and I've seen this because I was in the service, and when I was in service, I was a first sergeant for a few years, and y'all, a first sergeant is like a social worker. All right. So what we do is we help from the time that you're born to if unfortunately you pass on service. We help through all stages, but we make sure that you're personally ready. And one of the things that fell into our wheelhouse were finances. And so, it was like, okay, we got to teach you, first of all, how to manage your money, right? And then we've got to show you, like, from here on out, this is how you should do it. But nowhere in between did we even talk about life insurance. We didn't talk about what's TSP and SGLI, what those things were functioning as. We just gave you the bare minimum, all right, because that's all we knew. So I'm glad that we're here, we're talking about this, but we also need to talk about this wellness thing, because I feel like the stressors, okay, that are induced because you're overwhelmed with debt. There's so much talk right now in our economy. People are just, they're so frightened, all right, about where this is all taking us, because in between all the federal cuts, people losing their jobs, on a dime, things, inflation. I mean, things are just, the gas prices, y'all. I mean, we just kind of come down just a tad bit, but I'm just saying, I just drove, almost 300 miles, and I only got a half a tank. And I'm like, okay, I got to fill that baby back up, and it's going to be $60, $70.
Yeah.
So, so like in your work and that you're doing, and the people that you're, assisting or supporting, what has their wellness been? Like, what have you seen? What kind of things are being a little bit more pronounced now?
Exactly what you said. The economy is hurting so many people. I remember it was a time where $1 went a long way. The dollar, the same US dollar that we have right now, cannot get us anything that we could buy. Like, there used to be 25 cents a bag of chips. I used to tell people that there were 25-cent bag of chips.
Sure was.
Right? Inflation is at what? 4.2% right now as of May. In April, it was like 3.8. Our dollar is not outpacing inflation domestically, right? So we cannot buy the same things that we bought a year ago for that same dollar. And people are hurting. The war in Iran is the reason why our gas prices have surged, right? And everything is a domino effect, right? You should not wait until times get hard, because I don't see an up and up. The last recession that we were in was during COVID-19, right? During COVID. That was what, 2020. It lasted for about 2 months. That was the shortest recession we were ever in. And I think the one before that was 2008 with the housing market crash. Right?
Yeah.
Every time something like that happens, the economy takes a hit. Your retirement plans, everything that is in that stock market takes a hit. If you have nothing to protect the thing that you need the most, money, what will you have? When times get hard, everybody will be on an out and out, and their wellness will be affected. Their mental, they will go out, do crazy things, steal, it kill, rob, and that's what we don't want. So when I tell veterans and I tell my military community, or I tell other women, hey, we need to start something. We need to start a movement to make sure this thing doesn't happen in our community. If it takes one of me to make sure the majority of people hear this information, then I'm going to do that. I don't care if it's timid at first, you're going to get the information. It just takes one. If we create a group and we just create a good domino effect, when stuff like this happens, which it will, because a recession is due to happen, every 5 years?
Mhm.
And the last one was 2020. We're in the ballpark for another recession. Every time you look, it's a virus. Hantavirus was on a ship. We sink the ship. Don't come aboard.
I know, what? I was just what?
We don't need another one.
No, we don't need another break. I was like, Ebola was out, and then the ship. And I said, wait a minute, y'all.
Cruise off mark. Then Hantavirus disappeared. Then we took the Venezuelan president. Then it's just too much going on. Then tariffs. I'm stressed out. Every time I open my TikTok app, something is happening.
You said not the TikTok app.
So sorry to say it. I know I'm supposed to be watching ABC, but these TikTok creators and people, they get the news like no tomorrow. And
that's right. I know they do.
It's just algorithm. And it's just it's going and going and going. And I'm just learning new things every day. And I'm like, how can we put a stop to this? And I talk to people, I say, okay, how important is your life? How important is your money? And they're like, oh, it's important. I was like, okay, well, do you have phone insurance? They do. Do you have car insurance? They do.
Yeah.
Do you have money insurance on your money? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You're not insuring the one thing that you need to sustain in life. No matter how we say it, you need money to survive.
You sure do. And again, bringing up this has really kind of triggered a little bit of, because there is some I wouldn't say there's trauma, but there's carry throughs, right? Mm-hmm. And it is a generational thing. My mom never knew anything about what my dad was doing with our finances, with their finances before he passed away. Mm. So it was she had to learn at the age of 72, or I think she was, I think it was 70, but still, how to, balance the checkbook, figure out how, where all the accounts were, she bought a new home, got a new car, she went and got all these things. And then, realizing, oh, there's some serious responsibility that you got to have, right? You got to know what you're doing out here to make sure that you're not underwater, and that the premise of living within your means, right? Really having to understand, what does that mean? What is your lifestyle right now? Because when I see people across the street got all these fancy cars and going to fancy places and stuff like that, it's none of my business. All right, but we know what's going on in the Hemingway household. All right, we want to make sure that when we retire, that we don't have to, compromise on the lifestyle that we've already earned and we've already created. Yeah. So, those are the things that now, looking back when you're younger, you don't really think about it too much. You just want to live your life. Mm-hmm. You want to go to places, you want to see things. Yes, and now that you're getting a little bit more mature, you're like, well, wait a minute. I don't want to work so hard and all the way up to a certain age. Mm-hmm. And then all I do is get the fancy watch, because that's what they give you when you're on a job for your, going away gift. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, I want to live a little bit more, but you do have to secure and protect your money.
Yeah. You do. The banks do it all the time. They insure their money. They insure their banks. Mm-hmm. Your money, and they put it into insurance and get 12%, and they give you less than 1% and say, here goes some pennies on the money that you gave us. Oh gosh. And I just be like, what? Less than 1%, and they got the nerve to tax me on it. It's insane.
That's that part right there.
It's insane.
You taxed me on everything. So.
People, I was like, man, Uncle Sam don't care. He doesn't care. He's gonna take what is owed to him.
Yes, they will.
No matter how much you try to defer taxes, you're not getting grandfathered in at the lowest rate. You're gonna pay taxes at that time with whatever account you have, checking, savings, 401k. So when you see these old elderly people at Walmart, I've seen a man hunched over at the door. I've seen a man shaking at the register. And I'm like, how are these people still working? Aren't they supposed to be retired? The man that created the 401k, Ted Benham, said that he created a monster. His words. His words. Look it up. Yep, look it up. Fact checking. He said that he created a monster. So the man that created the 401k is meant to retire is telling you that it's a monster. To rethink where you're putting your money.
Oh, Jesus.
Where are you putting your money? How are you properly retiring? Because now, let's say anything happens to you, what is your family going to do?
That's right.
Because can you pass down the 401k? Because the day that you die, God forbid, all your accounts are frozen. That's 457,
yes, it will.
IRA, checking, saving, frozen. Then you see it go, help us bury such and such. Why? It's not because they probably don't have money. It's because it's frozen. It's going to take up to 3 to 5 years to even be completed when it gets to probate court.
Yep. Never live that.
Attorneys want their cut out the little something that you got.
Yep.
You want to get an index account, an asset that is Uncle Sam can't touch. Taxes is not, no taxes. Uncle Sam can't touch it. It's growing, it's compounding. You're on the receiving end. You can loan against it. You turn into your own bank. You're insured if anything critical or chronic happens to you. Your child can make business moves, go to college. There's no limitations on this account. You do not need to stay in the comfortable environment just because your neighbor is comfortable. You and your neighbor have two different financial situations.
They sure do.
We cannot go borrow some sugar next door. You might can get the sugar, but I don't know about the dollar. Hey, I don't got $1 to spare, but I got some sugar. They might give you the sugar, but the way inflation is going, you might not get that sugar. So I need everybody to take that into consideration when it comes to just learning about finances, especially my military people. We make way too much money inside the military to just succumb to what they tell us.
Listen,
the SGLI in itself is group life insurance, meaning you have to die at your job in order to even make that account pay out. 120 days after you leave the military, you are no longer covered. No longer covered. And if you do not go and transfer that SGLI into a VGLI, I believe it's called.
VGLI. Mm-hmm.
Within 1 year and I think 120 days.
That's not happening.
Not happening. But nobody tells you that you just go and get out. And if they do, it's real quick in a slide. Click, 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 click. They overstimulate you with all this information and you don't know what to do. So then you ask in petty officer second class and petty officer third class or a vet that got out, and they're going to give you whatever information was regurgitated to them at the bare minimum. So what you do not know will hurt you. Don't take my word for it. Go read. Fact check everything I done said today.
Yeah.
Very much so. Fact checked it. I did. I researched. I'm proud to say I love researching. I love me a little Google. Don't just AI check it. Fact check it.
Fact check it.
Mm-hmm. Meaning
read. I think that is so good, and to hear and to like get into people's ears, mm-hmm. and to really kind of like sit with that for a minute, right? And this is not pointing fingers or, giving any side eyes or any shifting or anything like that. But it's just an awareness. Like we've got to be so into like, what is our money doing for us while we were in service? Right? Like what am I getting? Like everything, like even extra monies that they give us, like for clothing allowance or for like a yearly pay raise, or you go on deployment and you get that extra money there because you got hazard duty pay. And so they, put all these extra monies on that. Like this is when we need to make some decisions.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For our future, because I can tell you, there was a lot of people who were in service who were told, thank you for your service, but you're not allowed to go on and serve with us anymore. Okay. Your last duty day is in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the weeks were, and then you're out.
Mhm.
And then there's no paycheck. And those that are retiring, you don't get a paycheck for at least a month, a full cycle, because they want to check. They auditing your records and they checking to see if you owe the government any money. And they're gonna take the money if you do, because if somebody may have just did a little bit of, wait a minute, we overpaid them. All right, and I'm not saying this because I'm just saying I know this to be true. I know this is to be a personal truth. Okay,
Same here.
They gonna get their money.
Let me tell you something. I will never forget. This is a funny story. You just made me bring it up. This is not a funny situation, but this is a funny story. All right. When I went to boot camp, right out of boot camp, went straight to A school. And I remember that first pay cycle here, I had got like 3,000 Airman Apprentice. Danielle Lacey got like 3,400 something. I said I was hitting them rights and lefts in the mall. I was like, this store, that store. And I had me bags on bags of clothes, shoes. I didn't know who I was. I thought I was Miss Rich. Okay. Then that next pay cycle came. I got 25 cents.
Hello. Hello.
For some bitch had to save me. Well, I only got 25 cents. I marched right over there to the finance office, the personnel, and I said, something wrong with my paycheck. Mm-mm. They said, oh no, we overpaid you on accident that first pay cycle. I said, so what am I gonna do now? They like, we can't do anything. 25 cents is what you got paid this time around. I tried to scrub the bottom of sneakers and return what I could return. I was in the mess decks eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I did not know that was even a thing. That was their mistake. How you gonna mistakenly give me some money and I gotta pay for it? But it happens. It happens. And just like that happened to me in A school, the same thing happens in real life. People don't know and they lose out.
I mean, I guess, again, this is just being naive. I was just a naive girl. I go in and I'm thinking you're going to give me a paycheck the 1st and 15th. And that is just it. And whatever I get in my paycheck, that's what I'm going to get. So we look at that as money as, well, this is what we have for today. And it took me years, y'all. It took me years to understand that money is supposed to work for you. Okay. You're not this money. It's a resource for you to be able to do things that will help you for the future, not for instantaneous type of, like, yes, I'm going to get a high. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I do a lot of shopping. All right. And I do that as part of my job too. But however, you go in and it's an instantaneous feeling, that emotional connection of, oh my goodness, the power of being able to go in there and buy something that you really like, get the said items, take it back with you. But some of these said items, as once you leave the store, their market value, it is just like it decreases and depreciates as soon as you get into your car. Okay. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this is not going to work. This is not for like what I really truly want, and have the lifestyle that I would like to have without having like the business or, my husband's a 9 to 5 job right now, but you have shared so much information with us, Danielle, that I'm just like giving me something. I got to do some homework, y'all. Listen, if we are not sharpened by what Danielle has just shared with us, then there's something wrong. Okay. But all of us who are listening in my community, this is Slay Nation. Okay. So Slay Nation, we trailblazers, change makers, change agents. We are the people that they look to, the leaders of our communities that they're looking to for support and help. So we've got to make sure we do our part, and then to be able to share with other people so that way they can do theirs. So before because it's almost to the top of the hour, y'all. You know how we do. We got to like turn these sheets down, get ready for the week and everything else. So before we leave though, Danielle, like share if there's something that we have not talked about over the course of the hour, share what you would like to share. And then I'll have a last final question for you.
Okay. Because we talked about a lot of things.
We did.
What did I talk about? I feel like we touched on a little bit of everything. When it comes to just the whole financial aspect, I want people to take away from this call. The biggest thing that I want people to take away is don't wait till the last minute. Right? Don't wait till it's too late to then figure it out. Don't say I have another day, because nobody is promised another hour, another minute, another second. If you have the means to do what you need to do today, take initiative. Take initiative. What you don't do will hurt you in the future. No matter, I'm not going to be a cookie cutter person. It will hurt you. And that's a lot of our issues today, is that we waited till the last minute. Some of us didn't know, some of us weren't told. But if you know and somebody tells you, even if you don't want to utilize the information, pass it on to someone else. That's the biggest thing I can say. And I'm not able to tell you everything in depth. There's so much I want to say. I want to just spew it out. My mind is going a mile a minute. But if you do want to meet with someone, meet with a licensed financial professional like myself, who is not commissioned, just working for commission, just working for the money. They want to give you the knowledge. Everything I do is complimentary. I don't charge somebody to sit down with me. I don't charge somebody to say, hey, look at my ebook and it'll teach you everything. I don't think that should happen. My biggest thing is to help those in need. And one of the things we didn't talk about that I wanted to talk about was this St. Jude commercials. I know a lot of us.
Oh,
yes. And I think I'm such a sucker. I will cry for anything. Oh my God, I get so emotional. But I see the St. Jude commercials, or I go to like McDonald's and it says, do you want to round up for St. Jude's? And I always do it. My biggest thing is, if these parents knew the information and they were able to put it in place when those children were born, for those that weren't born directly with the disease, with cancer, and they were able to have these things in place at that 15-day mark, their kids would be taken care of. They wouldn't have to work for donations, sit in front of a camera. I could only imagine how that feels, to sit in front of a camera to beg for donations. You know what I mean? My biggest thing is that I'm tired of seeing veterans homeless. I'm literally tired of it. I'm tired of seeing active duty military come out of the military after getting paid the 1st and 15th and backpedal into a 9-to-5 because they didn't know how to sustain the income that they have. People are getting lowballed on disability. Nobody cares. The shoulder, the back hurt, but you still got to go to work because you still have to make money to sustain a life, to live a life. Go out, research, talk to people that you need to talk to, network. Don't be shy. I'm shy. I stutter when I talk sometimes, but I'm going to get that information and I'm going to get that knowledge to better me, to better my son and those people that I touch within the community. So that's the biggest thing I wanted to say.
And y'all heard it here. And listen, Danielle said reach out to her and she has the answers. Okay. So please do not hesitate. You can find her. She on Instagram. Okay. Because that's how we connected. And she's now on LinkedIn, y'all. Okay. So you can find her at those two places. Where else can they find you?
So my social handles are Miss MISS Danielle Lacey on Instagram, as well as Miss Danielle Lacey on Facebook, and Danielle Lacey on LinkedIn. So it's usually my name. You just type it in and I should pop up.
So please, y'all, let's not just like fall on deaf ears and just, do what we've been doing, especially if this information is generating some buzz for you. All right. So let's just work on that. And as she said, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. All right. So we need to do our part. So I just put in Miss Danielle Lacey. Those are for her Instagram and her Facebook. Right. And then on your LinkedIn account is Danielle Lacey. So, okay. So please make sure you follow her, connect with her. I'm sure she's dropping gems all day long. Okay, on these platforms. And so you don't want to miss anything. And don't hesitate to connect. Okay. Now, we're getting ready to end on the top of the hour because that's what we do. And again, if you are a change maker, trailblazer, you're like that person who wants to live life on the edge, okay, take some risk, and you're like, I don't know, like, you stay tuned because we're here every Sunday, or selected Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tonight we had to start a little bit later, but normally it's at 7. Or you can find me on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Rise and Slay Show. And that's where I talk about the Slay method and what that is all about. It's all personal branding, executive presence. So if that interests you, come back and I'll be live for that. So my last question for you, Danielle, is a deep question because we're all legacy. Like, we are legacy because of what we continue to do each and every day, because of the impact that we're making, and we have meaningful purpose. Like, you have a mission that you're on. I have a mission that I'm on. And so we are already in this legacy, type of status, I would say. But, looking on, right? And I know, like, when it gets to a point where you could see yourself like almost going to glory. Okay. So I always look at the 80th birthday and I'm like, what would my family and friends say about me? Like, what do I want them to be said about me? What do I want them to say? What do I want to be known for? Right. And that's a deep question, because then that's you taking the actions to get there each and every day. So I'll ask you, if God blesses you with 80 years, and you have this SLAYMAZING birthday party, because it will be SLAYMAZING at that point, what would you want your family and friends to say about you?
That's a great question. First time ever thinking about it. But I would truly want them to say she was caring, determined, and she loved everyone she came in contact with. The determination factor, determined, I never let anything stop me. And I always put my best foot forward no matter what job I was doing. If somebody told me to scrub the toilets, and that toilet was going to sparkle because I put my elbow into it. If somebody told me to build a building, I'm going to learn how to do that. I never put a lock or a barrier on myself. I never said I cannot do it. Like, this for me was new. I've never done anything like this. And I always say, like, and I want my son to know that, and people to know that, you don't have to put a barrier on you. If you never did it before, you told me something SLAYMAZING in the beginning, just do it. So many people don't do it. Just do it. And Nike already got that just do it. So I'm not going to say put that on my tombstone, but just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Anyway, do it. Don't let anything stop you. Anything you want, put your mind to it and do it. I hate that when we were younger, they told us, what do you want to be when you grow up? We're like an astronaut, a firefighter. And we get older and we just lose that.
Yeah.
Do anything you want. Anything. Yeah. So determination, she's caring, determined, and just a go-getter.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Our conversation was so good. I didn't even know how we got to the top of the hour, but here we are. Yeah. Wasn't she great? I mean, she was absolutely amazing. First time out, and giving us all types of information that we could use. It's so helpful. Thank you for sharing your journey, your insights, your perspectives on your financing and how you are helping others, especially veterans, because this is all in service, and I thank you for your continued service. So with that all being said, y'all, and Max Rich said, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. I want to thank our guests for being here with us as well, because you could have been anywhere else, but you hung out with us for an hour or so, or whenever you could drop in and pop in. So we had Keisha, Max Rich, Mason K. All y'all were here, and we thank you for that. And if you know anyone who needs this information, please share this episode with them. And then tell them you're welcome. Okay. This is like, you're welcome. This is just a special gift for them. So we're going to say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much, Danielle, again, for being my special guest with me tonight. And y'all, we'll be back not next Sunday night because it's 4th of July. Okay, so we're going to be out partying and doing all the things. But we'll be back here on July 12th. Okay, so let's not forget about coming back, and we'll have another Slay Amazing guest. Okay, y'all, we'll see you soon. Keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. Bye.